So today it's almost end of the year, and we have Sir to explain us how Cryptoline has been for 2021. So, Sir, what are your takes on how do you see 2021 in the crypto timeline?
Well, 2021 was a very interesting year because it started off with a big bang. Tesla announcing that they'll be accepting bitcoins against the car deliveries that they're doing for Tesla. So that was big news. It spiked up the entire market. However, with time, of course, Bitcoin reached the all-time high during the year. However, what was interesting was that lots of crypto projects raised funds, and thereby, with more funding came more marketing. And with more marketing, what happened was that lots of newbies for the very first time started investing in cryptos. So it did create some more level of more deeper penetration and adoption into the crypto ecosystem. However, it also brought about lots of vulnerabilities. Now, when I look back for year 2021, it was a good year for us as Team Blockchain Lawyer. However, when we look at it from a global perspective, we were waiting for the crypto bill in India in February 2021, then again in December 2021. I think it's still work in progress, but overall, a very good year. It expanded the horizons. It expanded lots of people getting into the blockchain and the crypto ecosystem. So a very good, decent year for the entire crypto market.
So happy to hear that. Sir, what are your expectations in 2022 from the crypto metaverse?
That's a very good one. So people can make actually New Year plans based on how we look at 2022. So I think one of the biggest things that happened was that Twitter, Jack Dorsey, CEO, is now completely focusing on building a crypto metaverse. And he just stated in December 2021 that he's looking at the US dollar getting challenged by Bitcoins. And more or less, I think this thing will happen. It's about whether it happens sooner or later. I still remember a few years ago, we tweeted that, okay, cryptos or Bitcoins are not legal tender. But in times to come, El Salvador, well, 2021, it became legal tender. So lots of things, lots of aspirations for 2022. I think as a team also, for Blockchain Lawyer, got aspirations of sort of building, expanding to multiple jurisdictions. And as a participant to the crypto industry, I feel mass level adoption in corporate level adoptions, more people coming in. And one dream that I have is that we should teach blockchain in textbooks in schools and colleges. I think that is something that we will work around. We'll try to do something around that. And let's see how it goes. So 2022, we're primarily looking at sort of community-based tokens and expansion of real-world assets being tokenized. So those kind of things happening. And DeFi, of course. DeFi is something that we really are bullish on. So DeFi in the long run. I was joking around in the team that by 2030, a 20-year-old will be joking and asking their parents that, oh, did banks have physical branches? So the future banks will not have physical branches. Rather, they may not even be banks. They may be fintech companies who will be working under a e-license and working as banks. So that's the future.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I would like to know what's your perspective on crypto regulations in India.
Okay, so we've already seen one bill in February 2021. It did not get tabled in the Indian Parliament, and then we have sort of some access to the December 2021 bill that was there. I think India is still not aligning itself. Of course, I think Indian consumers, of course, have a different risk appetite, but Indian government per se, there was a very futuristic judgment that was passed in March 4, 2020 by the Supreme Court in the crypto regulations perspective. However, the Indian government is still figuring out whether they got to look left or look right, whether they should look east or look west when it comes to crypto regulations. Lots of good developments have happened in 2021. Australia came up with a standing committee report to the parliament suggesting that the next smart cities will be built on technologies like blockchain and cryptos. Dubai came up with its own free zone DMCC as a crypto city, as a crypto hub. We, of course, are very bullish on Wyoming in the long run as well. So from that perspective, I think India is slightly taking a more cautioned approach, more slower approach. However, let's hope that it does not miss out on the business opportunities that lie in this space.
Definitely, sir. Sir, last question, that what advice would you give to a 20-year-old with regards to blockchains and cryptocurrencies?
Well, this is first of all not an investment advice. 20-year-old, well, they are very smart. The next generation is always smarter. I think as a 20-year-old, I think they need to just understand finance more deeply. I see lots of commerce students, they understand commerce, but they don't understand money. They understand commerce, but they don't understand finance. And it took me also as a commerce student lots of time to understand the difference between money and currency, and money and, let's say, finance, and money and commerce. So from that perspective, it's important to clearly demarcate how is the fintech evolution happening in our country. And I'm a huge fan of what happened with UPI in India. It really sort of leapfrogged India to in front of many other nations. India did not go through the traditional mechanism of physical money and then slowly getting into the digitization. It really jumped from physical money directly to online payments, UPIs, and BHIM-app, and wonderful those innovations have done. So now when I look at a 20-year-old, they will be able to very easily build next generation fintech companies purely on UPIs and similar technologies. So I'm very bullish on what can be built on UPI, and blockchains, of course, bring their own level of trustworthiness and own level of decentralization. It's an exciting field. I think a 20-year-old should be very excited about what lies ahead of him or her in the next 10 years in the fintech space.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. And it was nice interacting with you. And to our audience, we'll be doing these quick 5-minute conversations on various other topics in or around blockchains and cryptos. And thank you so much, Vishwa, for conducting this thing. Thank you so much.